Good afternoon, Tony Hayes from Panel Investigation UK. Today's date 14:30 on the 11th of May, Thursday. We're looking at another piece of audio supplied by Penny Wallace. I did have a listen to this a few days ago and asked Penny to send that over because I could actually hear something. So I've looped it, so let's just quickly get into this one. I'll just play it back a couple of times.
Hello, Thomas.
Is that bit
Just turn the paper over.
That was the sound that I listened to. As far as the history is concerned on the actual audio itself, again, Penny was outside doing this. What Penny's using was a sheet of paper with a series of questions written down. Great way of, and the right way really to investigate EVP. Leave it, say 10 or so seconds or whatever. She indicated there was a tractor and also birds singing, which is fair enough. Yeah, Penny suggesting audio pareidolia. Yeah, it can happen. I've listened to thousands since the mid-1980s, 87 when I first started, and after some years you become accustomed to what they sound like. They do stand out different to a human voice. So if we go back,
Just turn the paper over. Just turn the paper over.
Penny there. Totally different to that sound there. So there is quite a lot of background noise. You can see the frequency spread is quite large. What I'm going to do now is amplify it. Okay. Now, when I heard this, noise reduction software had been used. So what I'm going to do is, there are two processes, so anyone's into EVP, because I'm involved with Penny on a investigator's sort of tutorial training Facebook page. So clearly there's a lot of noise going on here. Even when you don't think there's any wind, it's a good idea to get a woolen sock and pop the recorder into there, even when there's no wind. That'll reduce a lot of the background sound as it's traveling through the air. But obviously what you get, I'll take this back to the beginning, you'll just hear there's loads and loads of background noise.
Hello, Thomas.
Which is where this frequency is there. So you can clean it up with noise reduction software, which is what we're going to attempt to do now. I'm using WavePad. There are two methods for this. Now, Penny always records, so there we go. It's typical, isn't it? When I use it, it starts to fail. No, later. Yeah, probably going a bit too quick for it. Thankfully. Okay. Right, I'm just going to pause the video while I just sort this out. Okay, I seem to got it working again then. Okay, so let's go back to beginning.
Just turn the paper over.
It's around here.
Hello, Thomas. You're here.
Okay, so what we don't want to be doing is erasing that, but we can get rid of the rest of it. So all you've got to basically do is highlight the area that you're interested in. This, I think, this goes to about 8 to 10 seconds maximum wave pad of the sample area. So sometimes you find that you've taken too much of a sample, and you'll probably just need to go back and copy and paste a shorter sample. Right, okay. So there are two methods with this one. And in both cases, what you need to do is to grab the noise sample from the selected area. So you've selected the area, and what you're asking the software to do now is to simply copy it. It's grabbing, but it just means copying that area, which is now what it's now done. What you then do is highlight all of the audio, go back into cleanup, and what you're going to do now is one of two things. You can either apply the subtraction, so the frequency that you just copied, it will then take out it that way, or you can do what you call a special subtraction based on the noise sample. What I suggest you do is, if you've got a particular noisy one, is just use both methods. So when you click on the first one, you've got various options here. Now, I generally default it to 50%. That's just something that suits me. You can't go any further than 50%, but what you can do, you may want to do, for example, 10%. Try it, then another 10%, another 10%. So you can do it gradually, but I find this is not too aggressive, and will generally work quite well. So I've defaulted it. Whatever you've used before, it will default that. So if you're using 10%, it will default to 10% next time you use the same application. So once you've got your the amount, the percentage you want to reduce, just click on reduce sound noise, and it disappears. So what you can do, you can go back again to the beginning. Noticeably better.
Hello, Thomas. You're here. Just turn the paper over.
Okay, we're not that too bothered about this because the voice is there. So what I'm actually going to do with this, I'm actually going to save this file. I'm going to save it as a WAV file. I'm going to put noise reduced 1. Just to I know I'll use that method. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is simply go back to where it was before. So let's bring the file back in. Open file. It's a file. So this is the same file again. Original file.
Hello, Thomas. You're here.
Okay, I do the same again. I highlight it, I edit it. Clean up, and I'm going to ask it to, again, it's the same procedures before, grab the noise sample from the selected area, which is what it's now done. Highlight it all, Oops. Back to edit, clean up, and we're going to use this time, rather than using that subtraction, we're going to use a special subtraction, which is done. It's got noticeably quieter. So because I'm now going to save the second file, when you're saving files, always keep the original one, and at the same time make a note if it's different in any way. Right, okay. So there's that one file.
Go twice. Okay. Go twice.
Right, I just need to label that one. We'll call it noise reduced to. I've actually overwritten the file, but it doesn't matter because I've got on it an email from Penny anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So what you can do now is, what we will do, take that off. I'm just going to bring a couple more audio tracks. I'm going to put that one at the top because that's the original one. I can track 2. Whoops. So that's the first one. I'll do the same again with the second one. There's certainly a difference between the two. So all it's a question doing is highlighting the area of interest, which is that bit there. So I'm just going to go solo. I can't hear anything. Ah.
Okay.
Okay, right, so going back to where, I don't know what happened there, we lost all the sound off that first track. So just all we need to do now, this is the original unenhanced, I've not touched the original raw audio from Penny. So we've got a good idea that it's there. I'm just soloed this, so it's just this one it's playing. I'm going to loop. Okay, so we'll now go listen to the second one. Likewise the third. Okay, so we're going to need to run practically maximum normal volume. So what I'm actually going to do is bring some EQ in on both of them and turn it up to, I don't know, it's quite a lot, so you should hear them clearly. Let's go back to the first one. It's just a question of just finding the best one version which is clearer. Okay, what I've done is just taking the voices out of it, because what I'm hearing here is there's clearly a voice that's speaking, or it certainly sounds like it, and there's like a tch, tch, tch sound there, which is that there, and I'm not sure if that's outside contamination penny, or there's something something has been captured. Because one thing with EVPs, and I'll suggest that everyone should be, is aware of microphone strikes. I've encountered that with numerous times. Just switch that for a second. So all the digital recorders we use will have an external microphone. Now, microphone strike in normal audio terminology will be you catching it. A singer might catch it with the lips or the teeth, that type of stuff. From a paranormal perspective, I have discovered the same frequency but done suggestively by paranormal reasons, such as, is it a blast of energy? Because certainly a spook's not going to go up to a digital recorder, and it is with its teeth, it doesn't happen. So that, I sometimes wonder if it's like a blast of energy that strikes the microphone. That's the reason we get this very distinctive ch ch sound that follows, which is what we're hearing there. Certainly within the frequency, because that's when it's reacting the most. I'll just wait on Penny's thoughts on that one. Let's turn that back up. Let's go back to where we were. There we are. Okay, so what we now need to do is look at the third one. Again, we've got the same amount of boost there. That is undoubtedly the best one of the two that we've had. So what I'm going to do, hopefully agree with that, I'm going to get rid of those two. So we're just going to concentrate on the third one. So using both processes has in fact found one was better than the other. You just not always know, and we are in a position now where we can enhance it. What's also quite striking is this ch sound, which sounds, if you're on headphones, it's very, very distinctive. It's a sort of blast onto the microphone. Now, if you keep behind this gauge here, I'll play that all the way from the beginning, and you won't see that enter the red line. Once you hit red, what it's doing, there's so much sound source in the analyzer that the fader, that it's going into the red, and it hits the red. When it comes to that slice of sound there, is that suspect microphone strike is what I'm suggesting. Through.
Hello, Thomas. Okay.
There you go. straight into the red.
Hello, Thomas. You're here. Hello, Thomas. You're here. Hello, Thomas. You're here.
Okay. So what we can now start to do is enhance it a bit further. Because it's just suddenly, because what you've got to bear in mind, what's important is going into the red. This is a sudden increase of sound that comes from nowhere. It generally happens when something crosses the microphone. It's possible if someone's holding the recorder and catches the microphone, that would cause it. But generally, Penny's been doing this for some time. She generally puts the recorder down, so she's not in any way in contact with it. So it'll be interesting to hear what Penny's thoughts are there. But to me, and in fact, I'm pretty confident that Penny's had a couple of microphone strikes as well. Because what we've got to appreciate, if there's something genuine with electronic voice phenomena, and it is direct contact from the spirit, it's not using a mouthpiece. It gets plus you don't hear it at the time, it gets into the recorder by other means. So we must be dealing with some form of energy, and that's where I believe that this sound is just so much energy hitting the microphone. You get this big, massive spike, and it goes into the red line, as you saw there on the fader. Right, okay. Let's see if we can improve this. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to loop that section. I'm going to bring the EQ up. I'm going to probably go quiet for time, because you won't be able to hear me anyway, because I'm going to turn the volume up. And I should be able to get that sounding a little bit better. Also, it's a question doing with the EQ. If you've got using sort of digital audio workstation yourself, 31 bands is really generally the minimum that you need. Don't go for 7 or 9 bands. You need, the more bands you have, the better job you're going to do. So all you're going to do is play back the audio recording and start to take frequencies out. Once you notice the differences, you will do, because I've got this on practically maximum, you'll start suddenly hear the voice, that's presuming it is an EVP, the voice suddenly begin to decrease in volume. That is your start of your frequency, and within 2 to 3 bands of it, you're going to find what they call the fundamental frequency, which is the frequency with the most sound inside it. So I'm just going to go back to where it was before, then I'll go quiet. Okay. Got to concentrate on the voice, nothing else. Right, okay, so what we've done now, the first process is obviously clean it up with the noise reduction software, then use some EQ to drop frequencies out that you don't want and use others to increase if need be, which is what we've just been doing. There's quite a spread of frequency here. Because it's outside, it may explain it, but I was expecting to see a tighter band of, say, 3 bands, that area. There's a little bit too far over to the right for me, and there is a difference when I begin to set this frequency out, unless it's in like a hollow building, and this sound reflection. So that I'm a little bit become a little bit suspicious of it. It may actually be outside contamination, but it is within the voice frequency. That's the important aspect, which is the reason why we're using the analyzer in the first place. So we can quite confident it is certainly, it sounds like a voice and it is within the voice frequency. So what I'm going to do now is, one of the strangeness of EVPs that I discovered really by accident was that electronic voice phenomena, 90% of the time, it comes at you in a different tempo. Generally, I have a default of 50% that I slow down. So if your default is 100, for example, beats per minute, I need to slow it down to 50 beats per minute to slow it down by 50%. So, let's just tap on there. So what will actually happen is, because I'm slowing it down, the actual, there are little dots there, you'll see it all began to expand, because I'm slowing the tempo down, the audio file is going to get increase in size. Okay, so I'm just going to go to my normal default, which is generally never far out with it, and it's this area here. You see, suddenly jumps. Let's loop that again. This has turned into quite an interesting EVP, because when I first heard it on Penny's Investigator's Facebook, it sounded interesting because you get this almost like radio robotic sound in EVPs, very common, and they're distinctively different than a human speaking. And I put quite a bit of EQ increase in there, so that is a good capture. And I'm wondering, the great fun, I think, is the fun part is, I'm quite sure Penny will do this, is because Penny will hear something, she never gives me any clues, is if you ask 10 people what you think the words are being said, because we're dealing with a couple of syllables, maybe 3 syllables, it's very difficult. So, for example, if I said clock, that might to someone else may sound like rock or talk or tick. the people and accent play a role in. I'm based in Cheshire. I think Penny's in Bath. We'll have different accents. So as long as you're into your local accent, you're able to get and hear that, interpret that way. So I think, to me, if I was going to nail my hat on with this, it sounds like I'm above. I'm above. Let's have a listen. Okay, I'm above. That's what I'm going to go with. You know, everyone will have a different opinion on that one. What we can say, it's male as well. And what we can also say is, now slowed it down by 50%, it does sound in human tempo. Let's play it back and listen to the tempo. I'm above. I'm above. That's sort of tempo. Now, why that is unique to EVP is anyone's guess, and that just adds an extra tick to the box of an EVP. So I think that's a pretty good capture. So I'm going to end the video there. I'm going to be doing any more that I do for Penny, because we're putting these onto investigators tutorial Facebook page for training investigators learn how to EVP, because we don't find any problem of passing over information on to help you get the best of your captures. Do it yourself. That's one of the great fun aspects. You know, I have no problem doing second or third opinions, but sometimes it's just nice to do it yourself. So hopefully you found that useful. Quite a longer one than I normally would have done. So that's a good capture, Penny. Bye.